Top 10 manhwas where MC starts off weak. If you're looking for a story of overcoming challenges, starting off weak and becoming a true MC, this is the list for you. Theodore is a teenager, and like all good teenagers, he's really skillful in using his left hand. But not like that. He's unfortunately terrible at using magic. Because of that, he'll be expelled from his school sooner or later. To make up for it, he studies more than any other student, yet his efforts are useless. One day, while exploring the library, one of the books presents itself as an entity. Giving him no time to react, it merges with his hand, very much like Parasite. In exchange for knowledge from the books, the Parasite offers the ability to use the spells he has studied. It's Theodore's turn to go from being a third-rate magician to the book-eating magician. The manhwa has a very different art style from the standard that has been in the market. Still, it's a good illustration that fits well with the story. It's cool to follow Theodore being a smart protagonist with reactions worthy of an anti-hero. Kim hit a jackpot. He was selected to be a player, receiving permission to enter the tower and explore the dungeons. This is Kim's big chance to be fucking rich. There's just one minor issue. Unlike all other players, Kim's secret ability prevents him from leveling up. So, he was stuck between the first 4 floors since he couldn't be useful to any party. It only remained for Kim, the eternal level 1, to become a guide. Nobody knows the first floors better than he does. However, during one of his expeditions, an accident happened. One of the bosses appeared before its respawn time, taking the entire team by surprise and nearly killing everyone. Before being able to call the rescue team, Kim is ambushed by the monster, and it seems this will be the end for our MC. However, his only way to escape is to continue going up the tower, and that's when he decides to enter the 5th floor. The dreaded floor is a testing ground where players receive new skills if they survive. Kim never tried since he was a lowly level 1, but his test was as ordinary as killing a goat. Quite literally. Not only did Kim make it past the 5th floor, he finally had his skill fully released. Our MC has the power to use egos, special weapons capable of leveling up and increasing the strength of the masters. Kim can remain a level 1 as he has found a new way to become powerful. One fine day, our MC wakes up in Larsen's body, the last in the line of succession to the Maitons, one of the greatest families of magic. Unfortunately, Larsen was quite an asshole, so he was alienated from the family. Because of his behavior, he would be murdered in the future. Obviously, our MC would like to prevent that from happening. So he would need to learn how to turn this boy, who was a good-for-nothing, into a worthy successor of the House Maiton. But to become a successor, it goes beyond just learning how to use magic. He will also have to learn how to navigate the political world, since his brothers and sisters also want the spotlight. Young Scion of the Mages is a very recent manhwa, with just over 20 chapters, but that has already attracted a lot of attention, both because of the exciting action scenes and the captivating plot. After the death of his mother, Aaron fell into depression. He never wanted to leave his room and ate as little as possible. Gradually his fame, or infamy, grew, and he became known for being the lazy young master, being a joke between nobles and peasants. Until, one day while sleeping, Aaron remembers a memory from his past life. He didn't know who he was, but his memory showed him swinging his sword. Even without a drop of skill, his past self never gave up. This emotion took Aaron out of his apathy and lit up his interest in life, especially his desire to train. Aaron will now discover the sword's path and adventure while trying to erase the dirt on his name. Reformation of the Deadbeat Noble is a true classic. The original novel is excellent and the art used in the manhwa makes it even more impactful. Without a doubt, it is a recommendation that you must read. Leon was the most hard-working student. It doesn't matter the time of the day, he was constantly training. But sometimes talent goes beyond effort. His rival had trained since he was a kid and was a noble with more skill. Moreover, his rival's power was so unusual that every other student at the Royal Academy had already given up on challenging him. Why should Leon continue training if his talent had already been decided at birth? It is at this moment that an explosion happens. In the center of the crater, a sword awaits Leon. He was selected as the new hero, but he must learn everything from scratch. Then, finally, Leon will have the opportunity he always dreamed of, to become stronger and face the other nobles in the school. Overpowered sword is pretty entertaining. The former hero who comes to train Leon has an excellent charisma and is a fantastic character that drives the story. But I must warn you, the progression of the plot is slow. It already has more than 40 chapters and is now finishing its second season. 10 years. It took 10 years for someone to beat Protect the Empire on Hell mode. Dark Souls doesn't even come close to this game. Finally, after so many attempts, this streamy retro otaku has achieved this feat, showing the world how he was the best player. A few minutes after beating the game, a message from the developer is triggered to RMC. In addition to complimenting Retro Otaku for his achievement, the developer explains that no other player has reached this level of proficiency, and that he is the only hope. Hope? This is when Retro Otaku is transported to another world. He appears to be in the Protect the Empire tutorial, now in the body of the third prince, who is the worst character. He'll have to face in the real world the challenges he had at Hell mode. But this time it is no longer a game. Instead, RMC will see the consequences of his challenging decisions in real life. Tyrant of the Tower Defense game is a fantastic manhwa. Although the first chapter can be a little bit confusing, the story is quite good, and it ain't afraid of making RMC fail. Also, the secondary characters are highly charismatic, which really helps in making you care about them. KO is, well, trash. He's not a villain, he's just extremely holy. To make matters worse, he's weak. If K wasn't a noble and filthy rich, he'd be screwed. And that's what will happen. He's one of the characters who will lose all his possessions and die poor in the future. The only problem is that RMC somehow ended up in K.O.'s body, and every person around him, from his butler to the people of the village, is stronger than him. Every little detail is a possible death flag. The only good thing is that K.O. remembers reading this story as a novel and knows what will happen in the future. So his only chance is to try to get stronger while avoiding being the target of the story's hero. Thrash of the Count's family is straightforward, but the story's scope grows each season. Also, the art is outstanding and has more than 90 chapters, so you'll have a lot of content to read. Seo is a girl that lives for jiu-jitsu, and Sejun is a boy addicted to eating and playing video games. Because of that, Seo became great at fighting and Sejun became a chunky boy. Because of Sejun's massive size, he never had any problems. Any bully that tried to mess with him ended up suffering. Until one day, one of the bullies seeking revenge on Sejun tries to attack Seo without knowing that she was very good at fighting. Noticing that there is no way to beat her, they begin to humiliate the girl, but that wouldn't be enough. The bullies still weren't satisfied, so they take advantage while Seo is away from Sejun to attack in group and beat her until she was almost dead. And this is the spark that will start our journey of Sejun's revenge. He'll come to understand that as he is, it's not enough. He needs to get stronger, and the best way is to learn jiu-jitsu to face even stronger opponents. Young-Chang always wanted to be extremely powerful, so before he even started exploring dungeons, he was already training hard. When he could finally be an adventurer, he didn't stop exercising for a second. For him, becoming powerful came in first place, even breaking up with his girlfriend to have more time to focus on his training. But even with all of that dedication, he could only improve slowly. Unfortunately, RMC couldn't push past his limits, since he had selected martial arts instead of magic as his main skill. Until one of the constellations sees Young-Chang's future, as he will be critical to fate, she decides to bless and train him to become powerful. As RMC was getting ready to be teleported, something went wrong. Instead of being teleported to the domain of the constellation that blessed him, he ends up in the Abyss, a place worthy of being called Hell, where demons and gods dwell. But for Young-Chang, it all seemed to be just another training session. That's where our story begins, with Young-Chang facing training in Hell. RMC is super generic, but the art style and the universe are the strengths that will make you interested in how the story will unfold. Kang is the king of simps. As a child, he saw his friends suffer from her abusive father and have vowed to only marry a kind person. That's why Kang decided to live as an outstanding citizen, receiving several awards and decorations. Years passed, and his best friend showed up at the start of high school with a boyfriend. To further break Kang's heart, the boyfriend is a bully, and everything he has built in life now seems useless. At the end of the day, the bad boy was still someone who would have a happy ending. But there is a detail we still need to discuss: Kang's family. Kang is the heir of the most powerful gangster family. His relatives respected his wish to be a kind boy, but they desired him to follow the same path as his father. So they took the opportunity of this moment to show Kang that he was made to be a bad person, the baddest person that has ever lived. That person is an ordinary high school male. Still, it slowly takes on insane proportions due to Kang's connections to the underworld. The romance is exciting, and although he starts out as a simp, being weak and chasing the girl, he gradually molds himself into a Chad. This is the top 10. Leave below in the comments if there is any manhwa where the MC starts off weak that I haven't mentioned. For more content about anime, manga and manhwa, click on the subscribe button and see ya weeps!